Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Nick.
And this is NFGeeks. All right, Nick, for this episode, I guess we're going to talk about the new addition to NFGeeks, which is the discussion group on Facebook.
Absolutely, yeah.
So once again, I've been saying this in a few videos, there's an NFGeeks discussion group on Facebook. Please join us and come in.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that brought a whole new dynamic to NFGeeks, especially since I'm the administrator of it. And so my fascism has come out. Alex says it's Hobbesian. That's a reference to Thomas Hobbes, and he's right. Alex is right about that. So it's opened up a whole new dynamic of NFGeeks and for me. So why don't you talk about it as somebody who's on the forum and talk about your experiences?
It's great. I mean, when you first started it, I had this feeling that I was going to just take off, because it's almost like the idea that happened where I said to myself, why didn't this happen like right away? Mm-hmm. So when I first heard about it and you invited me in, I was like, this is gonna take off, because you have enough fans and you have enough people that I feel would want to connect with other people. I think one thing that intuitive types in general want to do, because they feel like they're in the minority, and because I think MBTI and typology in general attracts a lot of N types. I had this hunch that if there are a lot of N types that are fans of NFGeeks, they're going to want to connect with each other so they can feel like like they're part of something. So I think the good thing about it, from my perspective as a participant, is it's great to meet like-minded people who speak your language, so to speak, and it's just great to be part of a community where you feel like you're actually like the normal. I mean, there are some S types in there. Jeff, the SP.
Oh, of course, SP Spaz. Yeah.
He's a huge contributor who definitely gives an awesome ESFP perspective, and that's welcome. But it's also good to kind of feel like, as an intuitive type, you're part of a minority in some majority in some community, even if it's an online forum. Mm-hmm. And it's great to see that. I feel like there's a couple different categories of people who are on it. I feel like who are on the discussion group. There's the types that are just kind of strictly into it for MBTI knowledge and just kind of gathering more information on typology. Then you have the types that are like actually becoming good friends from it.
Mm-hmm. As that happens with any board,
yeah. So it's good to see people actually connect and form real friendships. From it.
One of the things that I mentioned this in when I did my own challenge video, and that's actually what I'm going to talk about specifically. That incident that when that happened, is that there's always unforeseen consequences. Like, it never occurred to me. I said this in my video. I'm going to say it again. It never occurred to me that people would be making their own YouTube videos that say NFGeeks on them, and that I had nothing to do with, that I didn't even instigate that. That the board sort of organically created this let's do challenge videos, and so now there's all these videos on NFGeeks that I'm not in, that I didn't make. I didn't, it was stunning.
It's funny you say that.
That it's sort of mushrooms,
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because in my experiences, anytime you start something that's going to involve a lot of people, you might not realize it in the beginning, but you certainly at some point will realize that if you're starting something that's going to create a community, like, stuff's going to happen. Friendships are going to form. Enemies are going to form.
Yes.
Hearts are going to be broken.
That's right.
Hearts are going to be filled. It's crazy. So, I mean, when you started, first of all, where did the idea come from?
Oh, I had I realized there are different Facebook forums about this is going to sound awful, about Myers-Briggs and various, and I'm still connected to them. And what I realized is that, I wanted one that was for NFGeeks where I could control the content, right? Where I could decide what this was going to be about. And honestly, the funny thing is the forum is very open. I mean, all sorts of nonsense goes on at the NFGeeks one. But I wanted one that, I don't know, that I had my finger on the switch
Yeah.
As to just as to what was going on and what was happening, and it just seemed sort of a natural progression to do that.
Nice.
Yeah,
because like I said, it was the kind of idea when I heard about it, when you invited me in, for the first month or so, I kind of was just kind of checking out topics.
Like a good INFJ.
Yeah, at first, kind of like saying to myself, do I want to get involved in this?
Just put your toe in.
Yeah, exactly. Do I have the time to do this? How much do I want to be engaged? And at that point, I was just kind of gathering information. Like I said, I feel like the types are just looking to gather information. Whatever they're participating, they're looking to learn about type stuff. Then you have the types that are looking to make friends. And then you have the kind of people that probably, say there's 500 people on this thing now. And I'd say out of the 500, maybe only 100 are actually writing.
Mm-hmm.
There could be a percent of those 400 remaining people who are just spying.
Yeah, sure.
So you probably
of course there is.
Your spies.
Yeah, I always think about that about the YouTube channel. That for everybody that's commenting, there's 10 or 20 people who watched who didn't, maybe even more than that.
Yeah. So I'm assuming there's a lot of people that are just kind of observing it as a non-participant.
Yeah.
And then there's your trolls.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure you have stuff to say about the trolls.
Yeah, there's always, I anticipate there's always trolls.
Yeah.
But I actually have, and people give me crap about this on the forum, I have a very strict trolling policy that if because it's NFGeeks, so if people are getting their feelings hurt, then that SJ fascist that I talked about comes right down.
So you kind of turn into an ESTJ.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's totally like North Korea.
Yeah.
All right, ready? All right, really? Wow. And I know. All right, for example, ready? All bans are permanent bans. All bans. If you're banned, you're permanently banned. I click on the permanent banned switch, and that's it. You can never come back.
How fascist.
Yes, very fascist. Yes, because I want to be clear. I'm not going to tolerate feelings being hurt.
Yeah.
Go on. The other. This isn't 4chan.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you because I think that the nature of it, kind of the intrinsic nature of the discussion group, is to feel comfortable saying whatever it is you need to say.
I realize one of the issues, too, and this isn't a criticism, but is the generation gap. Because
you're right.
I do realize that on the other message boards around the internet, it's kind of acceptable to be dickish. Or it happens and then it's okay, and then people go and then people come back. And
because there's probably not a clear presence that is regulating what gets said, what doesn't get said.
Yeah.
Which, you made a comment, and we were just talking about this earlier, where you don't want to control it with your thumb on it constantly, and you want it to kind of organically form and, let things happen the way they will. And you'll only step in when you need to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people have that in the back of their mind where they're like, if I say something too fucked up, Mike is going to ban me, and I don't want to get banned because I enjoy it, and so on and so forth. Whereas I think with the other discussion boards, someone will only get banned if it's really, really bad.
Right.
So it's a little bit more of a
and consistent. Yeah, that's right. I don't wait. If it's, if I see it happening, I'm already getting ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, part of it is sort of an NF protecting thing, I have to admit with me.
Yeah.
And look, I'll protect the NTs and whoever else too. But one of the things I pride myself about the channel and me making these videos is that they're very comfortable.
Yeah.
People can come on, you can come on, talk, and nobody's going to get made fun of. And I don't tolerate it. People don't know this. I don't tolerate it on the channel. When there's comments about specific people, like if they say, well, Nick's shirt is ugly and he's a fag because he's wearing I ban those people.
Yeah.
If they're saying wow, what you said was stupid, okay, fine. If they say, Mike, your beard looks awful today, okay. I'll leave that. But if anybody's directly making fun of a guest, I ban them immediately.
Nice.
If I catch it. Sometimes I miss it. But if there's an insult to a specific guest that's on there, it's because I missed it.
Okay.
I haven't gotten to the insult yet.
Yeah. So know that you'll eventually be caught.
You will be caught and you will be banned, and that's it. I'm not going to tolerate any guest being humiliated or hurt.
And that's the thing, is that it's good to just, in some instances, it's good to have something just be a complete free-for-all where you don't feel like, almost anything almost anything you said isn't going to be, nitpicked or anything. But I think it's good to have a little bit of control over that, just because I think people want to be able to say, on this discussion board in particular, people want to be able to say what they want without it being trashed on.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't mind disagreements, but when it gets purposely hurtful, I can't.
No, and even
especially as an NF,
and even me myself,
I have no tolerance of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten into a little bit of not arguments, but debates with people, just trying to get to an answer about something. It's not like I'm trying to put anybody down or anything. I think it's gotten bad at times when people are getting ganged up on, or when things are just getting nasty. The debates that happen.
And it's really about trolling too, because the INTJs get all worried about this. When I was doing this, and I can tell the difference when somebody's not trolling. Yeah. And I can tell the difference when somebody's just when an INTJ is just expressing their thought process in a debate, and they're not actually trying to hurt somebody.
That's the thing.
Even if somebody gets hurt, they're not. I can tell the difference.
Yeah, there's a difference between a debate and a gang up when people are actually getting hurt by things.
Yes.
Because I think the great thing about the discussion group, especially that it's the majority of the people on it are intuitive types. Because you want to feel like, the crazy things that you have to say aren't going to be
and that's another thing
trashed.
Too, is that it's actually, if you look at the population, then there's a great document that lists everybody and all their types.
Yeah.
It's very heavy. The three heaviest groups almost equal are INFP, INFJ, and INTJ.
Yeah.
And then the other ends come in. ENFP is pretty big, but not as big as those three.
Mm-hmm.
But we're certainly, the other SP, we don't have enough SPs or SJs at all. We're
That's right.
Way too low on that. Yeah. Noah is the only SJ, I think.
And he
doesn't even comment.
He comments when it's his duty to comment.
Yes, I know.
When someone says,
it is okay.
We need you to say something.
Wait, there's an extra step. This is where the fascism comes in. Because I'll say, Noah, they just asked you to comment. Are you going to comment or what? Dad, I'm on My Little Pony. I don't care. Somebody just asked you to comment. Come on, it's NFGeeks. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then he'll finally. Leave a comment.
Yeah.
So we need more. I don't know how to do that, but we need more SPs and SJs.
I mean, like with the SJs, I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know if there's enough interest to even.
Well, there's SJ forums.
If they did get involved.
There's SJ forums. Those things exist.
Yeah.
Personality Cafe, whatever. So there's people online who are SJs who are doing things.
Yeah, I mean, with the SJs, I don't know. I know that they're just not highly represented in
the interest
in the MBTI community. I just don't know if there's interest enough, even if they kind of signed on and we're like, yeah, we're gonna. I don't know if they'd really be that interested in it, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The SPs, like people like Jeff and there's a couple others. I can't remember their names, but it's still a small handful, and it is kind of ironic that the populations that out there in the world are the smallest. So like INTJ, INFJ, INFP. Those are the smallest. Some of the smallest percentages that you'll find in the world.
You wouldn't know that on NFGeeks.
It dominates.
It's enormous.
The typology.
Yes.
Discussion group.
Yes.
And that's,
it's literally the three, and they're only off, because I keep count, they're only off like 2 or 3. Like one will be like 30 or 40, and then the other one will be like 38.
Yeah.
Like they're very, very close.
It's something I always say about INFJs, because this topic came up once, was that people will say stuff like, oh, INFJs, there's way too many INFJs involved in typology. Not everybody can be an INFJ. And what I have to say is, like anything else, like any other interest, certain types are going to get more attractive. It just so happens that an INFJ is going to be more interested in typology, so they kind of all flock to it.
Yeah, I actually say that about NFs. Like if you think about it, any NF,
any NFs. Really.
If you think about your NFs in your world, you're like, really, we're a minority. I have NFs all around me.
Yeah,
and that's because NFs through the N force gravitate towards each other. Usually just to hold each other and say, oh, the world's horrible.
Yeah,
but still they gravitate. So from any NF perspective, it looks like there's lots of NFs in the world. But there really isn't. It's just that NFs cluster. And same thing with, so what you're saying is that NFs, or intuitives, especially introverted intuitives, cluster around MBTI.
Exactly. I mean,
that certainly has happened on NFGeeks.
They kind of just naturally, organically find it, and it's highly represented, not because there are a lot of INFJs or INFPs or any intuitive types out there, but it's because they find typology, and they get hooked on it. And something like this group is great for anybody who's intuitive because, or really any type, but intuitives in particular, just latch onto it and it becomes, a thing to be a part of. So yeah, anybody out there who's into typology, definitely sign up for the discussion group on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's it.
Cool.
All right, thanks, Nick.